Hey guys, it's Venus Patel and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my second video on here and I just wanted to talk about my experience as a queer person of color living in Ireland. So, I know I look a bit different. I look a bit out of character from the people that live here. I'm aware of that, so my experience may differ from other people's. But in general, Ireland's a pretty good place to live, I think. I mean, again, the people here are really friendly. The weather's a bit cold, sometimes rainy, but honestly, I don't mind it. I much prefer the cold weather, actually. Rent is pretty expensive. But other than that, it's a pretty nice place to live. And in 2016, they did pass the law to allow gay marriage, and that was by majority vote. So you would assume that the majority of people here are, let's say, okay with gay people. But my experience here has been, it's been varied. I'm gonna be honest. I do get harassed a good bit of the time. And a lot of, sometimes it stems from different things. It could be either homophobia or racism or just men being generally harassing. And that could be because I come off as femme presenting. So I do deal with the misogyny and sexism that pertains to that. I feel like a lot of people here don't really have an understanding of what it's like to live through this experience because they are white or straight. So, there a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Dublin's so great. Ireland's so amazing for gay people. You do not know that, but I don't know why people, so many people comment on that. So it's really not their place to say, I think. I think my first year here, it was generally okay because I didn't dress as colorfully as I do today. I think I only got called the F slur once during my first year. Second year is where it really took off. I think it started getting worse about around last summer, I think. So I had just moved to a different neighborhood in Dublin and it was less central to the city. So, I feel like in Ireland, it really depends on where you're living, where it can be more accepting. So if you're living near to the city, of course, people are going to be more open because there's more diversity here. But if you move out towards the country a bit more, you will get some good amount of that hate. So I was living more in the suburbs of Dublin and I was just sitting by my friend by the canal and it was my first night at this neighborhood and I was like, okay, cool. And these 12-year-old boys rode by on bikes and they're like, hey, do you guys have a cigarette? And they were literally 12. So I was like, no, sorry. Then they called me the N-word. And I had never been called the N-word before in my life because, first off, I'm not Black. But I've never dealt with that kind of hate, forcefully before. It was a bit, it was an experience. And then I just looked at my friend, we were just both shocked because, again, we don't usually expect that from people in Dublin, honestly. But then 5 minutes later, another group of 12-year-old boys rode by on the bikes asking for a cigarette. We didn't respond. Then they called me a black bastard. So from the first night, you could just tell that it was maybe not the nicest neighborhood, and then I started to realize after that stuff was happening that I was more aware of even, or just living in certain neighborhoods can be so scary because honestly, you don't know what people are going to do. For the most part, I feel like people in Dublin are not gonna be violent, but you never know. You never do know. But I did move out of that neighborhood in September, I think. And I feel like living in the city is so much safer in the way that you don't deal with as much hate. I was visiting my friend in Athlone last year and I was just waiting for the bus stop, just waiting around. And this guy just drives by and he just flips me off. And I was literally, I was just standing there waiting for my bus, So I feel like when people see someone that looks very different from them here, they just tend to open out with hate. Again, especially out in the country. In the city though, I do feel the past few months, they've been a bit rough. I will get yelled at, honked at, harassed on a weekly basis, I think, definitely. I have been called the F slur, the N slur, the T slur. I've been called a lot of slurs. I think most people though, a lot of people, I think, look at me like they're afraid of me, or they're just so confused by me that they just can't make what's going on. And it's a bit, I don't know, it's not the best, definitely. And it does get scary at some times because even when I'm walking around, even by myself, people will yell at me and they'll be like, are you a man or a woman? And I just get so scared because you don't know how people are going to react in those situations. And I've been in situations where I've just been afraid for my life because it's just scary. You don't know what people are going to do. So it can be a bit frightening. I'm half Indian and half Salvadorian, so the majority of my life I grew up mostly around people of color, especially being from like Los Angeles County, which is like, you know, a very, very diverse place. However, my high school, I did go to a majority white, Trump Republican high school. So, I don't know, yes, coming here was very different in many, many ways. Yes, Los Angeles and Dublin are very, very different in terms of diversity. But I feel like the same goes for the way that, like, if you're more in the city, it's more open, more understanding, as with like here in Dublin and then the rest of Ireland. And I feel like that goes for like Los Angeles and America in general. If you go more toward the country, you're gonna get some problems. Ireland is a majority white country, but I feel like in the city there's definitely more diversity. But I still feel like whenever I go into stores, or even last week when I was buying donuts with my roommate, you know, she's white and I'm not white. And I went to go buy donuts and I was waiting to pay and I was about to take my donuts, like, and the card was waiting to be accepted. And the lady just like wouldn't let me take them. She was like holding them back. And I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe, you know, she's just like that. My roommate, on the other hand, she got the donuts before she even paid. So I feel like there is like subtle stuff like that that happens a good amount of the time. And honestly, I'm so used to stuff like that that I'm not even aware. She's the one that pointed it out. And, you know, and it's like, even like when you go into stores or stuff like that, people just like watch you. I've always noticed that I'm always watched. And it could be because of what I'm wearing, because I'm a different race than them, but I don't know. It just feels like unhumane to be treated in such a way that you're just like always sought out to be this dangerous person. And I feel like a lot of people classify me as that without even knowing me. And I'm just so not a dangerous person, but because I'm so different, I'm treated as such. In terms of like the gay scene in Dublin, I feel like there is some lively parts of it. It kind of sucks if there's like a small number of places that gay people can really go to. I mean, like, just say for example, like clubs. There's like one main gay and lesbian club, and then there's like a gay bar as well. But that's pretty much it in terms of nightlife. But then in terms of day life, there's like one main place that people are known to go to. And I've been to that a few times, you know, just to meet new friends, join different groups. But I feel like it is very limited. I've joined this like website even called meetup.com, and it's like to find different groups. And I found like different gay groups, like gay meditation groups, gay reading groups, and they've been really fun to join. I mean, it has been a bit difficult now with COVID and all and lockdown, but you know, I feel like they have helped because a lot of gay culture, I think, especially in Dublin, is just like drinking or whatever, you know, so it is nice to have that option. But again, I feel like there's not so many options, if you get me. So overall, I think Dublin is generally pretty good. You know, if you meet the right people, if you go to the right places, I think Dublin as a queer person of color can be an enjoyable experience. The friends that I've made here have been so wonderful and understanding and very, very open. I feel like the youth of Ireland has so much to offer, and I feel like Ireland is making so much progress. Of course, the older generations are a bit more wary, and I feel like that goes for everywhere. But I think day by day, Dublin is generally progressing to getting better. And so I still have hope that it will be one day. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment down below what your experiences in Ireland have been. Let me know. Bye.